the trap is, under Jonathan, we voted $2 billion. I was part of the Senate that done that, and they bought equipment for this. If a few people, their fingers were found in a few fries, is that what you will say that the whole money was stolen? It wasn't.
A lot of money was stolen.
Well,
Millions in dollars.
See, that is the
were
problem.
Alleged,
that is the problem with this narrative. Sheer incompetence is now being subsumed under a phantom people stole money. And I say it is sheer incompetence.
Are you saying monies were not stolen?
No, Sean, you're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying monies were or were not stolen. I'm saying that it is the incompetence of the leadership and the direction of the fight against the insecurity and the terrorists and everything that have besieged Nigeria, that rather than own up, people now start looking for where to hang. And then the first thing to do is, oh, PDP people stole. Please, show. The day we're going to have a conversation, on the amount stolen in this government, I'm sure Nigerians will be. They will shudder.
You have evidence that monies are being stolen in this government?
So I say when that conversation will come. Usually conversations come when a government leaves power, because people, whistleblowers, all manners of people who could talk will find it very difficult to do so while they are still the perpetrators inside that government. So I don't want us to cover the failings of those who have the critical responsibility of our security on saying PDP did what. Let's put it this way. Show 6 years. Assuming anything went wrong before 6 years, things have progressively gotten worse. How can you now turn around and blame it on what happened 6 years ago? The reason why you came into power, you told us, was, I'm a general. I have the wherewithal. I know the way to tackle this problem. And Nigerians say, fine, this is our biggest problem. Let's give you that opportunity. And since that opportunity had been given till today, what have we had?
Right.
It has been one excuse after another. But I think there was a famous United States president, I think Harry Truman, who says, the buck stops on my table. We now have a president that every effort is made to say that the buck doesn't stop on his table. And we say no. The reason why you are elected with your government and given the full reins of power is that everybody expected of the cries of our people against injustice. Against injustice. Last, I think it was on on Friday show, I was chairman of a book launch, Children of Biafra. It was a book, or it's a book, about the Biafra war, seen through the eyes of a child. So several people wrote their childhood experiences. Very, very poignant book that everybody needs to read, because children don't cause wars. It's us elites going around trying to. And in my statement, because I was chairman of that book launch, I said that a short while ago, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar made a statement, whether jokingly or not, and that statement was that the actions and the policies of this government present government with my people.
Even if it
complaining.
is IPOB, you said you stand against injustice.
Against injustice
but
with
even
my
if it's
people.
IPOB or anything.
There are several groups. So one of the biggest, I'd say, problems that the media also has is that they tag everything IPOB. In the Southeast, you won't believe it, that there are more than 30 different separatist organizations. IPOB, MASOB, there are so many.
Which of them?
And each one of them comes back to the same thing. But I have also said to myself, Civil War ended in 1970. By 1979, somebody from that enclave, from the same place, from the South,
Senator.
no, that's what you're doing.
No, I'm just
immediately after the Civil War. Treated today, do not feel that there is something fundamentally wrong, which should be resolved. And unless it's resolved, you will always have.
okay. We will get to that issue. Do you regret standing surety for Nnamdi Kanu?
Not at all. I've even said in another interview, I think he was on TV, said that if the circumstances are the same thing today, I will still sound shorty. Because, Sean, what was the problem? What exactly was the problem? You feel that you're being unfairly treated. And at every point that you try to make and say, why don't we talk about Niger Delta was burning. The oil pipelines were being broken and oil production had fallen to an all-time low. Didn't go in with guns, didn't go in to say, let us kill everybody, let us jail everybody. He opted to say, come and tell us what the problem was. And that largely resolved the issue up to today. So why is it that the government of APC today has an aversion to dialogue? Why? What is it that makes any time that the Southeast is mentioned, hackles are raised? What is it about this particular government? And that's why I went back to say there had been other governments, including Fulani governments. So what is it about something?
So let me ask you, Senator, what, because people generally speak about the Igbos being marginalized, but that is a very general term to describe the agitation on the minds of those who say Igbos are being marginalized. What is this marginalization in specific term?
I ask another question. So, if you say, sit down and write out what it means. Sit down and write out what this marginalization. Of course, if I write, you will see it from an elitist point of view. Okay, so they didn't give you A or B or C, and say, why not? No, that's not the thing. There is a general lack of empathy about the sufferings of people. There is a general, I would say, closure of the space for business and every other way that people see when they live in a country. At the point at which, even as at today, there are more police checkpoints in the Southeast than in the Northeast, where the problems are, than in the Northwest.
They know.
You will never believe it. You go from one city to the other, from Onitsha to Owerri, several, you will see up to 10, 20 checkpoints. Why? Why are our people being subjected to the fact that children growing up at school age, one will have to score 300, another one will score 2 in order to be able to go to the same school? Why? Why would the local importer who needs to bring his goods and able to raise his money and do his business, all the ports in the eastern coast, starting from Warri, Koko, Port Harcourt, One, Calabar, and all that, be non-viable? And the insurance rates are higher. The cost of bringing it is higher, so you have to move through Lagos. So somebody who now needs to do his business has to move it by land, costing so much. Why is it shown that there is a master plan for railways. And efforts and monies are borrowed to do standard gauge lines on the Western Corridor. And then you're told that on the Eastern Corridor, which starts from Port Harcourt and goes all the way to Maiduguri, because it goes through the heartland of the South, it shall say, oh no, what we're just going to do is to rehabilitate the old one, forgetting that in the same railway master plan, they are supposed to meet somewhere. So how would a narrow gauge intersect with a standard gauge, assuming that you want both of them to meet somewhere so you can move out goods and so forth? Why? And when questions are asked, you are now seen as a troublemaker when you ask those questions. And then we turn around and say, but okay, and elements of this government are very, very quick to run to a default position. So we know the default position. Oh, PDP, they were thieves. And so that is why. How?
Senator,
I mean, if you... And then they say, oh, but you were in power. Why didn't you do it? No. Government is supposed to be a continuum. So I do my good, you come in, you improve it. Another one comes in, he improves on that. But you take a position that is not so good, and we now say, no, there's something that we need to correct here. And then you fall back, as if it's written. Okay, anytime you ask a question, go back to all of you are thieves. You know, I'm in the National Assembly here. I suffer part of it. And I go out and people say, but you people, you're all thieves. What do you do?
Would an Igbo president resolve this matter in 2023?
Let me put it this way, Sean. The man who the shoe pinches now knows where it hurts. The Igbo are the people in Nigeria who make the conscious effort of leaving their homeland to settle anywhere else without hurting their roots. At any point where they go to stay with their roots, you have never heard that they kill and maim and burn and all that. So they know how to aggregate everybody's, feelings, their customs, their laws, their mores, their everything. And so because of that, we feel that the Igbo will understand you, will even have the time for you. Today, we don't feel that this government has the time for anybody. I'm no longer talking Igbo now. I'm talking about the whole of Nigeria. They only talk to themselves and only listen to themselves.
So if an Igbo man becomes a president in 2023, you don't think that will resolve the matter?
You will see a tremendous change, starting with the fact that he will be able, or she will be able, to manage our diversity better.
So invariably, there needs to be an Igbo president in 2023.
You're putting words in my mouth.
I mean, I'm just asking.
Invariably.
No, I'm just asking. Do you think that an Igbo presidency is right in 2023?
Is right in 2023, number one. But number two, we think that the party called APC is not set up to manage Nigeria properly. And so, it has to be our own party that has been able to carry everybody along. And those of us Igbos within our party, knowing that you have to play politics, you have to talk to people, you have to be able to let people see your own point of view and buy into your vision, are doing the consultations now.
And you think PDP is making that concentration? Because
yes.
What we are understanding is that PDP has ceded the presidential slot to the North in 2023.
I do not think so. I've been part of all the negotiations and the talks going, and I have never seen where there was any such ceding.
Should that happen? So. Should that happen? How would that sit with you?
If my party will make a decision, then it is at that time that I will make my own feelings known, not to preempt, because when one of the biggest problems we do is that we try to shape our narrative as if we are giving ultimatums. Because when should that happen, then this happen. That's giving an ultimatum. So that's not how to do a negotiation.
Your name had come up in conversations as a possible candidate for your party in 2023. Should that lot fall on you? What would you do?
I would, if it falls on me. Within 6 months, all these things will be a thing of the past.
Have you ever considered being a president of Nigeria?
I will say this. If you ask former Governor Muazu of Bauchi State, we had a conversation of this nature in the year 2000, and he asked me one question, wouldn't you like to be president of Nigeria? And I said, of course, who would not like to head this beautiful country? That was far back as 2000. But
is your answer still the same?
Let's put it this way. My good friend and brother is to go look for a mechanic. Is that not so? A good mechanic to make sure that the engine can run. I think we are at the point today in Nigeria where we need that type of mechanic.
And could that be you?
Could be. I'm sure Nigerians will be able to make up their mind who it can be.
Well, do you think you are the kind of mechanic in coach that Nigeria needs?
Why not? The people who are there today, I don't think that they are much better than me. Do you think they are?
You think you can do a better job?
I think I can do a more fantastic job than what I'm seeing. What I'm saying, just to...
Do you support the sit-at-home order?
I think the sit-at-home order was eventually renounced, I think, because we also heard that the IPOB said no more, let the sit at home be only when their leader comes to court. But we find that subsequent to that time, after that time, that people still sit. Generally, there's a form of compliance. It should worry the government if a non-state actor is complied with in this manner. It takes us back to what I said at the beginning, that there is need to sit and talk with these people, not to at all times demonize and try to wave them off of people you can crush by kinetic means. Because the point is this: if you are a discerning person, you should ask yourself, why? Why do people steal despite all the assurances, despite the fact that they are losing, are willing to make that sacrifice? In other words, you can crush people physically, but you cannot crush an idea. And so you need to be able to engage so that that idea is what the discussion is all
Don't you think,
about.
from what I hear, that some of these members of IPOB forcefully make people to sit at home?
So let's put it this way too. How do you make the whole of them in the Southeast sit at home? How? What is their number?
The government has tagged IPOB a terrorist organization.
Unfortunately.
It stands as a terrorist organization.
Unfortunately. Very
But
unfortunately.
when you say dialogue, has that period not passed? Is that window still?
There's no time.
Is there still a possibility of a dialogue?
People who are shooting at each other in a war also sit and dialogue. So there is no time that you have, removed that. It is those who would prefer that Nigeria breaks up, really, and burn and all that, are those who are now telling this government, don't ever agree,
Should that
if the Israelis and the Egyptians could sit and talk, you just cannot tell me that brothers within the same country cannot sit and talk.
would you be willing to midwife if such a window opens?
I know, as a matter of fact, that efforts have been made by well-meaning Nigerians to this government for such discussions to happen, but it has always been rebuffed. This government needs to dialogue with everybody. I'm not just talking about the IPOB people. Like I told you, there are so many organizations. This government needs to dialogue with the Yoruba separatists. This government needs to continue dialoguing with the Niger Delta people. This government needs to talk and dialogue with the people from the Middle Belt, the people from Plateau, the people from Southern Kaduna. You must have to continue to talk to all these people because there is something going on. And what is going on is that our people are being killed, massacred, robbed, and all. We just seem to sit and not bother on the massive mayhem going on within the country. We just seem to, oh, let us just continue, let's do an election, and people are dying every day.
Senate Minority Leader, Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe, such a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure.
Sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much.
At any other time.